You're listening to the Tamar Yana Show here at IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com with Mudar Zahran, who is an Arab Jordanian, and he's going to give us his take on the situation. Don't go anywhere. All right, we are back with the Tamar Yana Show here at Israel News Talk Radio. And our guest now is Mudar Zahran. He is a Jordanian Arab and the head of Jordan's opposition coalition. He is a frequently published writer, and he's a former officer for the U.S. Department of State. And you can find him on Twitter at Mudar_Zahran, and we will leave that on the page where this show is podcasted. All right, Mudar, it's good to have you on. The last time I had you on the show, we discussed how it happened that in less than 2 weeks, Assad's Syria has fallen, as well as the Kingdom of Jordan possibly being next to be toppled. But today I'd like to talk with you about the recent developments here in Israel with the Hamas, the hostage deal, U.S. President Trump's suggestion that the Arabs in Gaza and Judea and Samaria be transferred. I don't know about Judea and Samaria, but perhaps that as well. And about Egypt also amassing troops on the southern border of Israel. We have a lot to talk about. Where would you like to start?
Well, let's start with the facts. First of all, thank you, Tamar, for having me. I can never emphasize this enough. You're one of the most intelligent, well-informed interviewer I've ever had. And I've had over 500 interviews in the past few years.
I bet you tell that to all your interviewers, but okay, go ahead.
No. I only say it to you. You can listen to my interviews. You're well-informed. You do your homework. And God knows how many interviews I've walked into, TV interviews, where the host didn't actually know what I was talking about. So that said,
okay.
This is not a pep talk. This is not the case of a so-called Arab Zionist telling Jews good words about Israel and saying bad words about Hamas so Jews could get a good day and feel some euphoria. No. Let's talk about the facts. You know me. You know of my connections and my information. And I can remind you that I've said a lot of so-called bizarre things on your show and elsewhere, and they all came to be true. Let's start first with the parade of dead Israeli children, babies, with my fellow countrymen, Palestinians in Gaza, celebrating the parade of those little babies killed in cold blood. First of all, there's a lot of questions. Some people ask, why would Hamas kill such very precious commodity? You know, we agree that hostages are a very precious item that Hamas wants to keep. So why would Hamas suffocate 2 people to death? And some people started questioning the story. The issue is Hamas is very carefully managed by the evil powers that be. And they know how to literally use striking the fear within the hearts of the infidels. This is one of the radical Islam's concepts. So when you kill particularly 2 babies, and you release the bodies in that fashion, you're killing the morale of the Israeli Jews. And Netanyahu, I have my reasons to believe, he knew exactly the move. What was it aimed for? By the way, I've seen other delivery of release of hostages, and it wasn't as celebratory as the one with the 2 dead Israeli boys. There was a Gazan gentleman smoking hookah pipe. This is number one. So this was a move, a slap in the face, and directed exactly at the morale of the Jewish people in particular. Because this is, again, the Holocaust revisited, children remains, you name it. We don't need to discuss that. We all know how painful it all was. That said, we need to call things by their own name. I still stand by what I said on your show. My fellow patriots, my fellow Palestinian, Jordanian Arabs in the West Bank or Nashtachim, Judea and Samaria. They are my relatives. I've got direct first cousins living there. And I will tell you this. People in the West Bank, Judea and Samaria are insane. They would burn your baby alive and eat it if they had the chance. Those people, when it comes to security concerns, are the most dangerous. And we're going to talk about Israeli operations in Judea and Samaria, the West Bank, in a minute. But that said, the Gazans, they voted for Hamas like all Palestinians did, because let's make it simple. It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a misjudgment. It was because Hamas promised us that they would get rid of the Jews and they would be not so corrupt like the Palestinian Authority. So people voted for them, including my Christian friend in Ramallah and her husband. She was working for a foreign embassy. I won't say which one. And she voted for Hamas. She's Christian. The reason they voted, because, who else was bombing Israeli buses and killing Israeli children other than Hamas? So, voila, we're going to win. We're going to have Hamas getting rid of the Jews, and we're going to have all of Palestine. So we voted because we wanted to kill you. Of course, not me. I've always been against Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood. But this is why my people voted for them. So what we got, Hamas was more corrupt than the Palestinian Authority. Palestinian Authority would imprison you and torture you if you speak against them. Hamas would kill you on the spot, and that's in a lot of cases. And on top of it, Hamas never managed to get rid of the Jews. So we lost. Gazans changed their heart, and they got to experience how Hamas was treating them, including systematic sexual assaults and rapes of women. My friend is a Palestinian Gazan journalist. She wrote against Hamas in major Israeli papers. She's young, the attractive young woman kind of thing. Young, 27 she was, and, attractive, athletic. When she crossed into Egypt to get treatment for heart problems, Hamas boys, to humiliate her, stripped her naked at the checkpoint. They took her inside. They didn't assault her. They didn't rape her. But they strip her naked. That's one example. The girl now lives in Scandinavia as a refugee. But that said, without wasting your time with too much details, Hamas humiliated them, abused them, so they hate Hamas. They want to get rid of Hamas, and they use words like, we wish Israel would come back. I've heard that a million times, but there's no love for Israel.
Right.
The fact is, they were happy as flies on feces, excuse my language, when they saw two babies paraded. As a Palestinian, a Jordanian, I know you have allergy towards the word Palestinian, but it's okay. We can call ourselves anything. We can call ourselves bananas as long as we keep your country sovereign and we stop killing your children. I don't think you would have a problem with us calling ourselves
I like accuracy. I like truth, but go ahead. It's okay.
It's fine. Truth. Anyways, the word I insist on identifying us as Palestinian refugees. Whatever we are, okay? I'm a Palestinian Jordanian. Whatever you want to call us, those people, okay? We have as a leader someone with influence, someone who will be in the direct near future of the Palestinian people. Those people, we have a huge problem. I would understand if you laugh when you sold your enemy's dead, the way Ukrainians are celebrating videos of dead Russian soldiers. It's not nice. It's still evil, but I would understand why you do this at war. It's wrong, but I would understand why you do it. But to rejoice and smoke hookah when babies are being humiliated even after their death, separated from the mother after their death, playing songs. Most of you, all of you, didn't understand what the songs were. The music which was beating in the background, it was saying kill them, butcher them. You do that while delivering bodies of babies. You cannot be a normal person.
Kill them and butcher them. That was the song that was playing. I heard music.
Yeah, it was that we're gonna clean them out, butcher them, like the usual nice words from Hamas. But to play that song, it was deliberate, it was crude, and it was to hurt your morale and make the whole country weep. Because they did it. They were not playing such celebrations with other people. I saw them heckling a female hostage. I saw them forcing a hostage to kiss the heads of one of them. But in the case of the babies, it was a celebration. Do you understand? So it was a spit in the face, slap in the face, and an ultimate insult to injury. But let's take a moment to thank Hamas for what they did. You should thank Hamas more than I do. I would. Hamas proved my point and the points of many other people, that there is the people of the Nashtachim and the people of the Gaza, they have been deranged beyond repair. So as long as, until we have a new generation, 30 years of re-education and strict anti-terror law, they are not to be trusted. Now, some people might, especially that the Jordanian government watches everything I say and they translate it and they spread it to the public. Let me say it in Arabic. شعب غزة أثبت هو والناس اللي في الضفة الغربية إنه لحد ما يتغير مخهم مش ممكن التعامل معهم أو الاستئمان عليهم. You cannot trust them. So you hear me, Jordanian intelligence, translate this and spread it on social media again. They're not to be trusted. They cannot be dealt with. And this is the info I have. This is where my opinion stops and my information begins. And I cannot tell you where or how I got them, but people who know me know I've always got information. You can follow my track record on Twitter. I always have the right information before other people.
Okay.
Most other people. The White House is no longer convinced that there's any way to reason with Gazans. The president did watch, this is not a secret, this is public information. The president did watch the video of them parading the death of the babies. And after that, certain things have been decided regarding the fate of Gazans. But this is the deal. This is as someone who wants peace. I don't want someone to kill you, Tamar. I don't want someone to kill your children. And worse, if it's one of my people and under my name. No, I don't want that. Because I don't want that, we need a separation. I'm not going to use the word segregation, but a proper separation of the population. The issue, it's a war zone that's, first of all, uninhabitable. No question about that. Gaza needs another 15 years to be just rebuilt to ground zero. And on top of it, Gazans have proved to be willing to kill babies, at least celebrate it and rejoice over it. Hence, it's never going to work. A Palestinian state inside Israel is never going to work. A Palestinian state, any form of Palestinian entity inside Israel is not going to happen. And we discussed on your show how dangerous Gaza is. Most people, fools, think President Trump is crazy when he said that he wants to take over Gaza. First of all, he's not bluffing. Two, Gaza is the most dangerous geographic spot in the world. Gaza is where Israel is, and Israel is in the worst geographic spot in history of mankind. It's connecting literally 3 continents to one another because there's Asia and Europe, and then Africa. So it's a pathway, a doorway for trouble, conquests, and unrest. On that map of conquest and unrest, you have Gaza like the nail tying the map all together. So whoever has that can either launch war or peace. And let me connect here, and I'll make it very simple as much as I can. This is all information. None of it is in my opinion. And if you insist on opinion, I'm an academic, a PhD. Doesn't make me smarter than anyone, but I wouldn't dare say something I'm not sure of. I'm not, from an academically sound point of view, could prove. Gazan, who are they controlled by? Hamas. Who's Hamas controlled by? Jordan's Muslim Brotherhood. Who's Jordan Muslim Brotherhood? I've verified this in multiple articles. Just Google my name with evidence. Jordan Muslim Brotherhood is controlled by the Jordanian intelligence / the Jordanian government. Who controls the Jordanian government directly and has the Jordanian government by the throat? Who? China. China is a growing beast, and I said that in your show, while everybody was consumed with the Muslim threat, with the Islamic threat, Islamic terror, they forgot the real enemy lurking behind it. They were engaged with the knife, and they forgot the hand that controls the knife. China has grown with it, have overgrown with its ambition in the region. China controls Egypt completely. It controls the Suez Canal, controls the Egyptian army. That's why Sisi is pulling stupid stuff like sending Nashkite, like sending his tanks into Sinai. China is the one who called on Arab countries with a meeting with President Xi 3 years ago. He said the first thing he said in the summit with Arab leaders, we should liberate Palestine and take care of the Palestinian people. Because China sees its method of control in the region as propping up the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, when in reality, Tamar, we do have a country. We have had a country even before Israel had a country. Before Israel got independent, we got independent. We have a country called Jordan. There's no other way. We can talk about it forever. No way those Gazans are going to go somewhere unless they go to Jordan. There's no way Jordan's going to accept its Palestinian identity as long as a foreign family propped up by the globalist Europeans and the Chinese is there and telling Palestinians, the king said it 5 days ago, that he would never tolerate entry Palestinians into his kingdom. And he would never allow Jordan to be Palestine. This is what he said word for word. And that he would never allow, quote unquote, the naturalization of Palestinians already in Jordan. They are citizens. And he's saying that, no, they're not. Bottom line is, it's about to call things by their own name. But let me, if I may, talk about the West Bank.
Judea and Samaria, yes, you may.
You can call it whatever you want. That part, at least we both agree that it's sovereign Israel territory. Do you agree or disagree?
It is sovereign Israeli territory. It should be.
So, absolutely. No, it will be. Inshallah, God willing, it will be. Because we need Israeli sovereignty in the West Bank. Some people listening, including right-wing Jews, they would say that this guy is a Zionist Meshuggah. He wants to be Zionist more than Jews are. Well, I'm not more Zionist than they am. In fact, I am self-serving in the sense that I know my people's interest is with the Jews, and particularly when Israel does well, we do very well. Before, when you were a young woman, or actually a child, before 1987, the Palestinians were very, very wealthy, working for Israel in the Nashtachim. That said, this has changed, and now we live miserably. I can tell you what the Palestinians want, and they told it to me a zillion times, from leaders to young kids. They wish Israel would come back and get rid of the Palestinian Authority. Palestinian Authority equals the following. Double the price on car tariff. So if you drive with an Israeli license plate, the Palestinian Authority would confiscate it and dismember the car, destroy the car, trash it. It means triple the price of the internet. It means double the price of phone calls, especially international phone calls. It means higher taxation, more expensive food, and less work and real taxation. When the Israelis were there, nobody's really collected taxes from the Palestinians. Now the Palestinian Authority has been collecting billions of taxes from the Palestinians, and the people are getting nothing. They don't even pick up the trash, the Palestinian Authority. Israel had local administration which would pick up the trash. Nobody is calling, including Israel, nobody is calling for the expelling or ethnic cleansing of Palestinians from Judea and Samaria. Nobody is calling for that. You are not calling for that. What we're calling for that is...
Oh, that's not so. And I think that there's talk now in the media about expelling these Arabs who are terrorists in Judea and Samaria. But go ahead.
Exactly. You could have let me finish. Nobody's talking about
go ahead.
kicking away 2.5 million or 2.8 million, whatever they are, kicking them out and turning Judea and Samaria into a purely Jewish area. Israel would not do that. Israel could have done that long time ago. Israel would not do that. The Israelis, including right wing, would not approve of this wholesale slaughter, ethnic cleansing. But that said, the Palestinian Authority has bred a lot of terrorists, and in 4 hot areas. These areas are Mukhayam Balata refugee camp near Shechem, Tul Karim, where Queen Rania of Jordan, the so-called Queen Rania of Jordan, hails from, and Mukhayam, the refugee camp of Jenin. Those are the hot spots. There's at least 7,000 active militants with quiet, reasonable training, at least in their gunmanship. They're not exactly designed for, special forces operations, but they're very, very good with their guns. And they have, the M16, M4 rifles. Those can be used as sniper rifles, so they're very effective. And they've claimed the lives of many Israelis. That said,
sorry, Mudar, they have more than that. They have armored cars. They've got RPGs. They've got heavy equipment over there, and they've paraded it. And because a lot of it belonged to the Palestinian Authority, that was given to the Palestinian Authority. But go ahead.
Well, But now let's be clear. The role of the Palestinian Authority now is different, and it's actually shocking. Okay, but let's not get that. They don't have armored vehicle. What they have is RPGs. Okay, delivered to them by the Palestinian Authority. They don't have the armored vehicle, and they can be very effective in door-to-door fighting rounds kind of thing.
Right.
When it comes to door-to-door, it's always difficult. This was the case in Gaza. So that said, those people, at least an estimated 7,000 militants, can wreak havoc across the area. Those people, the new system, once we have a different government in Jordan, is what most of you do not realize. All of those people do actually still hold a Jordanian passport. Every single one of them. Every Palestinian in the West Bank, Nashtachim, Judea and Samaria, still holds a valid Jordanian passport. Yes, the Jordanian government, when they enter, tells them you don't have any rights, you can't buy homes, you can't do this, fine, but they still can't enter. Once I'm in power, I'm going to restore their rights, and this is going to be the law of expelling, which is if you're a terrorist, you engage in terrorism, you get expelled with immediate family members. Wife and kids, yes. Okay? Siblings, parents, if you're still a teenager, like 18, 19, they would go with you. I can't say this, but I am confident, or let's say I'm aware, that Israel has identified the troublemakers and their families as 110,000 people in Judea and Samaria. Those people, I can tell them and tell to those who move them that they don't have any future inside Israel. They will be expelled to Jordan. They better prepare themselves and start considering real estate in Jordan. Mark my words, you will be expelled. And also, after I'm in power, mark every word I'm telling you, because tomorrow this is going to be policy. Just like the things Trump said and everyone laughed about, my words are going to turn into policy. Anyone engaging in terror or jailed for terror will be released only to Jordan. They're not going to be released to Gaza or the West Bank, Judea and Samaria. They're going to go to Jordan because that's their country. You are a resident of Israel, under the grace of Israel. If you're bad, you get expelled.
Can I ask you a question, Mudar? I just wanted to tell our listeners that Mudar is looking to overthrow the Hashemite rule over Jordan, which does not represent the vast majority of people, and he would like to take power there for his people. And so my question to you is, why would you, if you did get to be at the helm of Jordan, why would you want these terrorists in your country?
Because I'm not Israeli. Because in my case...
But we saw what happened with the PLO and Black September, and what the King Abdullah did over there with them. That they went wherever these PLOniks go, they cause trouble for the local population, and the local population wants to spit them out. It happened in southern Lebanon, it happened in Jordan, then they went to Tunisia, etc. Why again?
I'm not sure I agree with you, because
okay, that's okay. It's okay not to agree. That's fine. I don't mind.
First of all, the Palestinians built the Palestinian so-called Arabs, because we're not Arabs. The Palestinians, we're Arab speaking, but definitely not Arabs. They built Jordan from scratch. The Palestinians, that country was a country of 50,000 residents and 680,000 in Judea and Samaria, the West Bank. When we ran away in the war and moved to Jordan, which was nothing, turned into an economic, at least in the 80s and the 90s, economic, education and healthcare marvel of the Middle East, to the point where Arab royals would go get treatment by Palestinian doctors. I'm very proud that we are dubbed by Arabs Jews of the Arabs, so-called Jews of the Arabs, because the Palestinians built the entire education, health, and military system, believe it or not, of Kuwait and Qatar. And in United Arab Emirates, to this day, the top advisors of the royals are Palestinians, including Mohammed bin Zayed, the guy who signed the peace deal with you. Both his top advisors are Palestinians. One of them is from Jerusalem. So the Palestinians are builders, not destroyers. But in the case of Lebanon, my dad is witness to that because he went to school there. Arafat, and a Moroccan man born in Egypt, with zero connection to Palestine. Your ancestors definitely have your family, Tamar, definitely has every connection to Palestine than this guy. You are actually a Palestinian in that sense, but he's not. Arafat wreaked havoc across Lebanon, went as far as, again, it's not a new thing in the book, using rape as a weapon. You name it. And they destroyed Lebanon down to scratch. But I wouldn't blame them for Kuwait. We didn't do anything in Kuwait. It was Saddam and the King of Jordan and Arafat.
Okay, but why would you want these terrorists in your country?
Why would you accept them? Because I'm not Israeli. Because I'm not nice.
So like you think that they would like you? Or, you're saying that nice you're going to deal with them harder than Israel does. That's what you're saying.
Israel has laws. I'm going to apply martial laws for the first at least couple years. And then very harsh anti-terror laws. You open your mouth, even with a criticism, with an opinion that supports terror, you go into jail under my watch. You engage any connection to the Muslim Brotherhood, any sort of connection, or Hamas, you go into jail. And you're not going to face a trial because it's going to be martial laws. You're going to spend 5, 6, 8, 10 years. Your family messes up, and I would never put them next to one another, and I will keep them heavily watched by my people. You guys have human rights, civil rights, bullshit rights. I'm not going to have any of that. Evidence of that, I'll give you an example. And, it's always a mouthful when I talk to you, Tamar, because you ask smart questions. I was in Bethlehem. 2014, vacationing. We spent 90 days. It was the helm of the war in Gaza at that time. And I saw a protest, those kids next at the entrance of Bethlehem. For those who know where Qubbat Rahil is, the tomb of Raheli, Rachel's tomb is. A mile above that, there's the Point, fancy 5-star hotel. It's like a classic hotel. And next to it, the Palestinian kids were throwing rocks and Molotov cocktail bombs at the Israeli soldiers. You following?
Adeptly, yes, absolutely.
Okay,
on the edge of my seat.
And the Israelis are shooting in the, these, gas bombs and trying to arrest some of them. And all of a sudden, the Israelis disappeared. And the Palestinian kids were laughing, playing with the decoys of the gas bombs and the tear gas. It was a fun celebration for them because the Israelis retreated. Guess who showed up? The Palestinian police. And guess what happened? All the Palestinian kids disappeared within 3 minutes. Why? Because what's the worst thing that an Israeli can do to you? What's the worst thing? They can shoot you and you'll die and you'll be a martyr. That's nice. They can shoot you, they can beat you up, arrest you, and then send you back after 6 months. The Palestinian police, when they come after you, they're going to go after your family, after your kids, after your shop. And they're going to make your life hell for the rest of your life because you stood against them. This is why if the Palestinian Authority wanted to stop the nonsense that takes place in the West Bank, they can stop it, but they don't want to.
Okay, let me just insert here, if I can, that I saw video footage, maybe it was a month ago, of the Hamas taking teenagers who had gone to steal food that was delivered in this humanitarian effort to bring food to the Gazans. And we know that the Hamas takes and steals all the food for themselves so they have control over the population. And by these kids who are maybe 14 years old trying to steal a bag of flour for their family, they took these kids, they handcuffed them with their hands behind their back, they made them kneel down on the ground, and then they proceeded to shoot them in their legs to make them cripples for the rest of their lives. This is just an example.
The Hamas signature torture is they shoot the knees so you become crippled for the rest of your life. And one of the most sophisticated or regular cases that took place in 2006 amid Hamas coup in Gaza was Palestinians with bullets in the knees, which they had the Israeli doctors taking them out. So that said, there's no question that the Palestinians I'm going to have in my country, first of all, are going to be housed away from the border, way away from the border, so they wouldn't think of anything stupid like crossing the border. And they're going to be kept under watch, and they're going to be taken care of. They're going to have government houses, bitach laumi, unemployment checks. They need to live well, so they can stay quiet. But the first thing that's going to stop is you engage in terror or even talk about terror or incite, your check is going to stop and they're going to face jail and your family will be ruined. And I don't care. I'm not like Israel. I don't care if they take me to the International Criminal Court. They're happy to take me as long as I keep my people and country quiet. This is like having a drug addict son, God forbids. If you and I would have a drug addict son, you would send them to an asylum. You don't care what happens to them there as long as they stop their habit. My people, as much as I love them, because I see the human within them, they're not monsters like everyone thinks. They have been brainwashed beyond repair. And I need to keep them safe by keeping them safe from themselves. Some are going to say, is he going to do it to probably kill him tomorrow? Well, I'm not a president yet. And I have the king of Jordan who wants me dead. And he couldn't. And I know exactly why he cannot. And I exactly know why I will be able to do it. And I will exactly know why I'm going to instill the fear of God in my people, not to even think about killing Jews again. It takes the Yiddish word stalker. It takes a meshoga to do it. And Israel has found one. That's me. So let's see how things go down. And just watch. Enjoy the show.
All right. Let me, I'm kind of concerned about some of the things that you said, in that having policies like that, and I'm not saying it's wrong. I would have to think it through. But it seems to me it could be leaking over into other people who may speak bad about maybe your leadership, and then you could use it against them. But I'm just going to leave it there right now. We can talk about it later if we have time. But I have some other...
Can I make it simple?
Yes,
I make it simple? Because,
go ahead.
the powers that be, the globalists and the media, they watch everything. So they've recorded everything I say. So when I become president, which they're trying to prevent, they would use it against me. And let me make it simple then. I'm not bringing democracy to Jordan. I'm bringing human rights, equality, lack of corruption, transparency, people getting their money instead of the money going to the king's account. But I'm not bringing democracy, because if I bring democracy, they're probably going to elect the Muslim Brotherhood in no time and bring terrorists in power. So this is like, again, third time I say this on different shows, this is like giving the keys of a brand new Rolls-Royce Phantom worth $750,000 to an 18-year-old kid who just got their driver's license. You wouldn't do that. Therefore, actually, it's worse. It's like getting an average person to fly an F-16 midair. He's going to crash it and kill everyone else. Bottom line, there won't be any democracy. I have my apparatus of friends and family who can, God forbid, if I'm assassinated, they can replace me, and they probably be much worse than I am in dealing with terrorists. We need to get this surgically fixed. There are no more negotiations to end the Palestinian cause or fix it by any means, Tamar. After those kids, you shouldn't even think about that. Therefore, this is all going to be surgical. The whole solution will be a surgical operation into the whole system, and it could only be done in the span of the next 4 years under Trump.
Okay, let me ask you a couple of other questions from an Arab point of view. Israel made a terrible, well, in my opinion and many other people's opinion, a terrible deal with the Hamas to get our hostages back. Personally, I don't think we should be negotiating with terrorists because, and it used to be Israel's policy, because you give them legitimacy, and I think they just have to be eliminated, these terrorists who go out to maim and kill, etc., and murder, and murder the most vulnerable of our population, which are mothers and children. But knowing that, if you were to advise the Prime Minister of Israel how to deal with the Hamas, what would you advise him?
Kill all the heads of the movement and leave the movement headless. That's easy because all the heads are abroad, so it's easy to kill them as soon as possible. And for the time being, there has been incredible pressure, well-financed pressure, and I don't care if it's going to offend anyone, well-financed pressure against the Prime Minister to get the hostages back.
Okay, I need bullet answers from you because we're almost at the end of the show, and so we can't go too much longer, not more than 5 minutes or so. But I want to say here, well, actually, I want to ask you, and if you again can answer briefly, with the hostages that you're saying, basically take out the head, right? What would you do about the hostages? A lot of people say, but if you take them out, they're going to kill the hostages that they still have.
Well, if we take out half of the heads, the other half are going to be touching the heads and the necks, and they're going to tell them, okay, release him so we wouldn't finish you up. There's no way other than violence with those people. They don't understand any other language, and this is the thing. This is the problem with Jews. Jews who have dealt with my people. I love my people. I defend my people. I represent my people. But the only instinct that really resonates with us, with Arabs, is fear. They don't exactly obey any other instinct, including reason. It's sad, but true. This is how you should fix this. My prayers for the hostages and the martyrs, dead young people in Israel's families. My prayers is for everyone who wants peace from both sides. And rest assured, God is on our side, and they're going to lose.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.
No. Wait. Don't go yet. I still have another couple of questions. I just need you to keep it brief, okay? We're gonna end soon. Okay. What do you think about Donald Trump's U.S. President Donald Trump's suggestion that if all the hostages, no more drips and drabs, if all the hostages are not freed, all hell should break loose in Gaza? What do you think about that?
There will be another war. He's a tip, his information. There's another war in Gaza coming, which is going to be unprecedented but short. So there's another round coming, believe it or not.
Well, give us a little detail there. Give us some details.
I can't. It's way above my pay rate, but all I know is there is actually another war coming in Gaza, and this time it's going to be shorter and much ruthless.
And when you say a war in Gaza, between who and who?
It's going to be Israel attacking Hamas again because they're not behaving and they're refusing to give. And there's also another issue which is not publicized. I'm going to finish in a nutshell. There's a huge list of hostages. Hamas is playing idiot. They go, we didn't know if they're dead or we still have them. We didn't know because you bombed them and they're gone. So we are suspecting Hamas is keeping at least 20 hostages off the record claiming that they were dead. So this is the biggest problem. So this whole thing was a temporary deal. I hate to say it, but it's going to explode. More Gazans are going to die because of Hamas. And there is another alarming issue, and I'm going to finish on this note. There is a huge question about where exactly were the hostages held. Israel used unprecedented technology, some of it classified by the U.S. military, only given to Israel for that purpose, to find out where the hostages were. We suspect the hostages were housed in a different country. And that's like way above what I should have even said on national radio. It's a mess. All the so-called Arab countries who claim to be pro-peace, anti-Hamas, are actually pro-Hamas. It shows you that, again, we're back to square zero, an island of Jews in an ocean of insanity. Thank you for having me.
No. One more question. We have until like 4:40 p.m. Israel.
Go ahead.
All right. Same question. What would you advise the Prime Minister of Israel regarding the amassing of troops in the Sinai by Egypt in violation of the Camp David peace accords that we signed with them?
It's not Egypt doing that. It's China. China does not want anything to compromise her control on the Suez Canal. You can Google that, search that in reliable sources. China controls Egypt with debt and other things. Therefore, China is up in the ante. And I send this to the Israeli military intelligence who watches every Israeli media show or social media show. You will have your tochases kicked out of Sinai, and it's not only going to bring embarrassment.
But we're not in Sinai, and we're not threatening the Suez Canal.
No, you are threatening it by being Israel and America. The American warships all over the Mediterranean and the Red Sea, and you are basically another America to them. So you can compromise if you choose to. You can compromise the control over the Suez Canal at any moment. This is how major powers, governments, this is how they think.
Okay, so assuming that...
So that's why Hamas, and I said that 20 years ago, and nobody exactly believed me. That's why Hamas was very propped up by China and her apparatus of loyalists, because as long as there's Hamas, as long as there's terror bombings inside Israel, Israel will never be free to execute America's strategy of isolating China in the Middle East.
Okay,
right
so
now, this is how it's going to end up. Just let me say this is important.
Go ahead.
As much as I hate it, because I love Egyptians. Egyptian people are some of the nicest I've dealt with in my world, in my history, in my life. That said, there is an upcoming war with Egypt in the Sinai. It's coming no matter what. It could take 3 years, but it's coming. And it's going to bring about a huge, shameful defeat for the Egyptian army. And with it, and this is very strategic, it's going to bring the demise of the Egyptian military rule over Egypt, which has been there since Nasser. The map of the Middle East is changing. Prime Minister Netanyahu is right that Israel is changing the whole thing. And let me remind you of something I said on your show 5 months ago. I said the area is changing for the better, and I'm optimistic. But the unkind thing that took place here is they left. We all had a very nasty party, and now we're cleaning up. And sadly, they left the Jewish boy to take out the trash. So you guys are taking out the trash on behalf of everyone else. Sad, but true.
Assuming that you're correct, that China is behind this with Egypt, so what would you advise the Prime Minister of Israel to do regarding this threat that Egypt is amassing troops on our border and is ready for an invasion?
Prepare for war, and it's going to be 1967 revisited. The Israeli pilots are going to hunt Egyptian tanks like turkeys. I'm not afraid at all, because Egypt doesn't have any serious military power. They can inflict some.
They have an air force. They have F-16s.
They have 200. They're the.
And they have millions and millions and millions of people.
They don't have they don't have the Navy system that can inflict any serious damage. They have missiles, which are dangerous, but if they choose to use it, Israel would give it back to them 10-time fold, which therefore they wouldn't dare to use it in any effective manner. They have tanks as a show of force. Their tanks are advanced, but still no match with the air cover system for the Israeli Air Force. The F-16s, they are the fourth largest F-16 operator in the world, but the F-16 and his intel info. Egypt, if they engage in a war, they're going to run out of F-16 fuel in 2 weeks. Israel would never run out of F-16 fuel, jet fuel.
Interesting.
So they are no match. And also the Americans with Trump in power, the Americans in the Mediterranean are not there to eat burgers or shish kebab. That said, I'll end on this note.
Thank you.
I predict there will be another war with Egypt, and it's all unnecessary. Mr. Sisi, just send your troops home. Don't hurt Egyptians more than you have. But I think, it's about the chicken coming home to roost. I think the Egyptian military regime has taken its toll on itself. It's going to crash under its own weight, and it's going to be ignited with a war with Israel, which Israel will win quickly.
Mudar Zahran, has been a fascinating conversation with you. I really enjoyed hearing what you had to say. Very, very interesting things to think about and take home. And thank you for joining me on the show. I hope to have you back again soon with good things happening for both of our people.
Amen. And my sincerest condolences for the families of all hostages and martyrs of this nasty war, including the two little boys. And it broke my heart because one of them looked like my son, and it haunts me. Take care of yourself.
Thank you. Be well.
Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. That was Mudar Zahran. I will be leaving a link on our page where the show is podcasted for you to be able to follow him on Twitter, or I should say on X. And wow. a lot to talk about. A lot is happening very quickly as history unfolds into what many people, whatever religion, if you're Islamic, if you're Jewish, if you're Christian, believe that we are in the Messianic era or entering the Messianic era. Just things are happening so quickly, just like a labor. Just like when we birth, right? And we have these contractions, they get faster and faster until the baby is born. And it seems to me, at least, that that's what we're all experiencing today. And I want to thank you all for being with us. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to write me. I can't always write you back, but I do try to read every email that comes my way. You can write me at Tamar, Tamar, at IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com, or you can write at info@IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com, and those letters will get to me. Thank you, everyone, for being with us. You've been listening to the Tamar Yona Show here at IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com.